Ano pa? Parang ang dami ng sinagot. Ano pa? Children, come on. We have single group, pre-test, post-test, design. Diba? Meron namang two group, pre-test, post-test, design, or post-test, design only. May time series pa. Huwag na natin pahirapan mga sarili natin. Sige. Academic performance of graded learners in English 10 using ICT. So, understandably, remember that this is non-random. Non-random ito. Kaya nga yung validity is highly questionable. Diba? But we have to set some criteria in order for you to group equally. Like, you consider the age, you consider the GPA, right? Diba? Sa action research, ganon ang gagawin natin. So first, anong descriptive question? Anong itatanong natin? Not the profile, my dear. Agad na tayo sa pre-test. Kasi pre-test, post-test design, for example, will following. To determine the pre-test mean percentage or mean scores. Pag mean percentage, iba din ang ibig sabihin nun. Iba din ang treatment nun. Di ba, math teachers? Pero pag mean scores, iba din ang treatment niyan. So, first is you have to ask for the pre-test. Mean scores. For number 2, you've got to ask about what? Kung may idea. Sige nga. Kung may pre-test, may post-test. Very good. Okay, post-test. Kasi ganito ang kwento niyan. Nag-pre-test ka, may intervention ka, ito yung output mo. So, the input, process, and output. The input is your, what? Pre-test. In what specific topics? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you've got to have the intervention. The traditional teaching, maybe a lecture method, and this is the ICT. Can you follow?
Yes.
Now, you've got to have your output. Now, makikita mo sa post-test, di ba, nag-increase ba ang score in the ICT versus the lecture method. So yun lang yung process na i-discuss mo. And you are going to use what? An arrow. Anong ibig sabihin ng arrow? Correlation is not an arrow. It's a line. Bidirectional kasi yun. Kasi we expect that the DV is dependent to the IV. Kaya arrow, one directional. Pero pag correlational, walang independent variable at saka dependent variable. Line lahiya because they are predictors only. Not independent and dependent variables because independent IV and DV is true only in what? Quasi or quasi-experimental, true experimental, causal comparative, or ex post facto design. Okay, kaya na serenity mo ginagamit. Okay, so the pre-test and the post-test. Now, how effective the ICT in teaching? Paano mo makikita? Paano mo masasagot? Through what? By asking what? Remember that the structure of your research questions or research objectives would be, the methodology would be dependent on your research questions. Kung ano iti mo gagamiton nga treatment analysis. So, paano natin makikita how effective is ICT over the other or lecture method over the other? Because we don't know. Can you follow? By means of what? By way of asking a research question or a research objective that is comparative in nature and asking for difference. Is it clear? Now, so magtatanong ka, naging objective number 3 na siya. You are going to compare the pre-test and the post-test results through a statistical treatment using a t-test. Kung ano man, hindi ko alam ang statistics. Kasi comparing lang, comparative nga type of research question. So number 3, is there a significant difference between the pre-test mean scores and the post-test mean scores of grade 10 learners in English 10 using ICT and the lecture methods? Yan. So masasagot yan ng statistics. Huwag nyo lang i-presume, yes, there is an increase kasi mataas, it has to be treated by statistics. And aside from that, kung quasi-experimental, you've got to ask also the LGS, the learning gain scores. And it has a different computation as well. Is it clear? Okay. Kung madami naman, halimbawa, you're comparing a lot of variables or a lot of groups. Yan na gumagamit ka na ng or anong ano na yan, ANCOVA, or whatever. If you are comparing more than 2 groups. So, number 1 is descriptive. Kasi nagdi-describe ka muna. Number 2 is descriptive type of research question. And number 3 is comparative, and number 4 is comparative. Kasi nagko-compare ka. Any question? Now, you cannot deviate from this protocol. Natanong agad ay difference. Merong mga ganon. Is there a significant difference between the pre-test mean scores and the post-test mean scores between the control and experimental groups using the ICT and the lecture methods? Huwag ganun. Walang shortcut dito. I-describe mo muna by asking 2 descriptive questions or objectives bago ka mag-correlate. The same with the relationship. The same with the causality. So again, what are the types of objectives of research question? Descriptive. Kasi pwedeng descriptive lang. Di ba? And in social research, my dear writers, scholars, do not ask about social demographic profiles by just simply describing it and without a purpose in mind of correlating it with the other active variables. And remember, you cannot also, yung bang you correlate one active variables to sub-variables. No, it's a no-no. Di ba parang 1.1 social demographic profiles in terms of 1.1 age, 1.2 gender. Then number 2, active variables, academic performance in. Tapos, i-correlate mo sa age. Na sub-variable lang ng socio-demographic profiles. No. Can you follow? Dapat active variables to active variables. Anong ibig sabihin ng active variables? It's the main concern or topic in your research question. Ask it as one item. Kung age is a very important variable kasi it could be an extraneous variable. Like in a causal comparative ex post facto, hindi ka na magko-collect ng data about gender, age because it's given. Walang independent, dependent na lang ang i-collect mo. Kaya nga ex post facto. Pagkatapos na ng isang research. Is it clear? Secondary data na lang, yung extraneous variables. Yung age, yung gender, kasi parati naman yung tinatanong. Diba? There could be, or possibly, a secondary data that you can use for your study and correlate it to something new that you want to research on. So, nagpo-causal comparative ka. Kaya, may causality. Remember, relationship does not give possession. Kaya iba siya ang correlation at causation. Causality could be in what? Causal comparative or true experimental. True experimental and quasi could be comparative as well. So these are the types of research question. Again, it is not smart or smarter. Tandaan natin yon. It should be a researchable question. And remember, if you have these research questions or objectives, it should be addressed in coherence with your research instrument. Kasi wala kang socio-demographic profile sa objective mo, tapos doon kasi kinopya nga lang, downloaded nga lang yung instrument. My God, meron pang ano doon, ang dami-dami. Kapatid, bawasan natin para hindi halatang kinopya at dinownload. Kung ano lang ang nasa objectives, yun lang ang nasa research instruments. Huwag na yung age, yung gender, kung wala namang objective or research question about social demographic profiles. Tama ba?
Yes.
Okay. Now, mga extramurals na lang to When are we going to validate, test for reliability of your instrument? Kailan? Kailangan ba? When?
If your instrument is not yet standardized.
What else? So there are two types. There are two types, right? Adapted, which you revised, maybe a little apart of your instrument, or adapted. You did not change anything, so you do not validate. Can you follow? Okay. And you validate it in some other area. Characteristics are of the same characteristics with the target participants or respondents of your study. Okay. So these are the examples. Examples of relationship. The comparative difference, the causality. Is there an effect of one variable or the other variable? You pronounce it variable, not a variable. Creating good research questions. Generate at least a list of topics. Research questions. Generate a list of topics or make a list of topics. Choose a type of question, whether descriptive. Ano ulit ang types of questions if you are listening? Descriptive, relationship, comparative, causality. Very good, children. Then, begin question. How many? How often? How much? And what is the relationship? Kasi if you ask about how many, that is descriptive in nature. And do not tell me if you are going to ask a question starting with how, that is very quali. No. Depending on the content of the how question. You get it? Okay. Now, if there is also a question on how often, that is a descriptive question. How much? All the more that it is a descriptive question. What is the relationship? Of course, relationship. Difference and the effect. Then identify the IV and the DV or the variables. Then identify the population first. Now be careful with using this Lorenz formula. This is tricky. Diba? Bakit 100 nag-Lorenz formula ka? No. Asya, nagiging abnormal itong data, nagiging abnormal itong result. Be careful in using and choosing sampling techniques because that will affect your result. Okay? So that's creating good research questions. Now, frameworks of the study. Let us not be too technical. Now, what's the difference between conceptual framework and theoretical framework? Kung basahin natin kay Chris, oh my God, brain bleeding. Diba, hindi masyadong abstract ang definition ni Criswell, ni McLeod, Franklin and Walling. They are not researchers friendly. But basically, we use both for quantity. But we use conceptual framework for quantity, correlational, causal comparative, quasi, and true experiment. But not for descriptive. Because conceptual framework, you are framing the concepts of the relationship between and among the variables or the constructs. The dependent and independent variable, what's the relationship? The theorizing. Are you neo-theorizing? Are you extending a theory? Are you proving a theory? Because the difference between the quality and the quantity is that quantity is confirmatory. Quality is exploratory. In quality, you are to create what? Theories. You are going to make theories. You are going to build theories. But in quantity, you are going to test hypotheses. You are going to test theories. Kaya confirmatory and explanatory in nature and quality. Ang theoretical framework is theory backgrounding, highlighting the concepts of your study. Backgrounding. What really is the focus of your study and what are the theories, the model, the principles that are backing up your study. Pwede kang gumawa ng graphical representation or presentation, but not exactly the DV and the IV because that's for quantity. Now, for quali, you can only have theoretical framework. Conceptual framework is not true also for descriptive, though quantity. Can you follow? So, let's make it simple. Ganon ang discussion parati. O kung may mag-insist naman na panel, may I suggest, or if I may suggest, you have to include a conceptual framework. Quali, very highly quali. What will you say? What will you tell her or tell him? In a very polite manner. Papulit ito yung advisor. Kunyari scripted, ma'am, possibly they could suggest or they can suggest about conceptual framework. Okay, mga quali, another study. So dapat maharang na ka mo. Nang pambasagad ka mo. Para, what? Who is saying that? Dr. Madeja? Yes, Dr. Madeja. Diba? No, do not use me as a reference. You read. You read, my dear students. Then, okay, that's it for the conceptual. I made it easy. Stop on the limitation of the study. Ito na.